I'm Jim Gary, and welcome to Patilipi's Workshop. As many of you know, I've been restoring a 25-year-old Class A motorhome. It's built on a year 2000 Workhorse P32 chassis, and in previous videos I've replaced the rear brakes, most of the front and rear suspension parts. Today's video shows how I replaced the front hubs and tested the front brake rotors for runout. And just to remind you, I am a biologist, not a mechanic. So I'm showing you what I did, not what you should do. So please consult a professional mechanic prior to any work you do. If you're interested, there are links to my other motorhome restoration videos in the description below. So please like and subscribe. Now let's get on with the video. Okay, I'm getting ready to take the last couple of lug bolts off. They've all been loosened. If you're trying to do this with a regular wrench, I would recommend you get a some kind of a driver like this. One. There's the other. The other thing about this is the tire sometimes doesn't want to come off right away, so I use this dead blow hammer. I've got the RV up on blocks, up on 12-ton jack stands, so I think it's good. So I'm going to go to the back of the tire and just wail on it with this hammer, just on the tire, not on the rim. There it goes. Sometimes it takes a little bit of work to get them loose. These RV wheels are really heavy. Mine are 19.5 inches. There it comes off. These are really old tires that came with it, so they're going to get replaced at the tire shop. Okay, I've got the bolt out, and I got the hydraulic fluid off, so now just got to drive this piece out. So it's a wedge and a spring, and now the whole thing should be able to be pried loose. Let's give it a try. There it comes. Like everything on this vehicle, it's heavy. There we go. So there's the caliper. We've got the inside pad taken off, and now to get the one that's stuck on the caliper, you just tap it, it comes right out. So now we've got both of them. There's not a lot of wear on them, but I'm replacing them anyway because they're so old. These are 24 years old, I'm guessing. So I'll be putting in a new caliper and new shoes as well. So we're going to come out in a minute and check the run out on this. It's supposed to be no more than 2.5 thousandths. I'm going to have to buff it smooth. It's got a little rust on it because it's been sitting here for a while, but take care of that. So there's the setup I got. So it's riding up against the wheel. Right now it's at about 5 thousandths, and it can only go up or down no more than 2.5 thousandths. And as you can see, it's going up about 6.5. So I think we're good. It's about 1.5 thousandths. So I think the rotor's in good shape. So the next thing is to take the hub off. So the first thing is there's a grease cap in here. Got to take off, and that's problematic because it's recessed. Usually you grab it and just wiggle it, and sometimes you'll crush it. But it's in there good. I'm going to grease it. Some PB Blaster in there, my favorite stuff. Let's let that sit for a little while, come back to it. Okay, I went back and got some other channel lock pliers, different ones, get better grips in here. These are bigger but harder to get inside there, so I'm going to try these. There it comes, finally. So there it is, it's out. Little dent, but no holes. That's good. All that's in there is a nut. So I've got to take the cotter pin out and then undo the nut. Once the hub was off, the outer wheel bearings came right out, but I took the hub into the shop to remove the inner bearing and both races. Once the hub was on my workbench, I just had to remove a grease seal using a seal removal tool. The seal was a little bit stubborn, but I pulled it out after a couple of minutes. With the seal out of the way, the inner bearing came right out. And I'm going to replace all the bearing seals and the races in the future. I thoroughly cleaned the surfaces inside the hub to prepare for removing the races. This is the front right hub, so this is the disc for the disc brakes. And this is the race for the inner bearing. And I've got to tap that out, and I'll have to tap it out from the other side. So I'm going to flip this over. So this is the outer side, so here's where all the lug nuts are. I've got a thinner and longer rod here. It's all still aluminum. It's a lot easier. I'm going to try a longer, thicker rod here. That did it. Bigger tool, better result. Okay, let's pop it over. So here's the race, 501310. So we'll compare that to what I bought. I just bought them by the matching them to the vehicle. So now it's time to tap out the other side. Oh yeah. So if we take a look in there, let me clean it up a little bit. Put some brake cleaner down there. So now I can see the edge of the race, so that won't be a problem, I don't think. I'm going to use this one. But I can feel it moving. That went better. So there's the other race. Really hard to read. But let me go get the new ones, and they look identical. The new one is a Timken LM501310, and the old one is also a Timken LM501310. So we got the right race, and it came as a set, so I'm sure the bearing's correct. Now let's look at the smaller one. The original was a 15243 Timken 15243, and the new one is a Timken 15243. So I got the right race and most likely the right bearing. So I'm going to clean this up. I'll do it off camera. I'm just going to use some degreaser and stuff to try to get all that old grease out of there, and then we'll come back in and we'll set the new races in. This outside of the hub here doesn't use a regular seal. It just has this cap that sets in there. I had a heck of a time getting it out because it's recessed in there, but it'll be really easy to put back in. It's just a press fit in. So let's take a look at getting these races set in. So here's the new races. There's a big one and a little one. The little one's going to go in on this side, and it gets tapped all the way down to the seat there. This is the closest I have to seat it. Fits a little loose, but it'll still work. So let me assemble this real quick. Real simple. And I'm going to just put, again, a little whey oil around the thing just to make sure it goes in nicely. This is clean. pretty good. So then this just sets in there. And let's just tap it in. Sounds like it bottomed out. So again, this extra piece here is where the cup, that little cap is going to go. So let's get the race on. Now this is a bigger one. This is kind of fun getting this far along with this project. Aha. This is the 72 millimeter one. It looks like a perfect fit. Again, it's got a seat right down on that shoulder. Leave plenty of room for the seal. Grab a paper towel. And make sure this is as clean as I can make it. I don't care if there's dirt below the shoulder, but I don't want dirt on the shoulder or above, just above the shoulder. Okay, I think that's about right. So here's some oil. And I just think that's what makes it go in a lot easier. So this just sits here. Just goes on it. Here's the right front hub. It's all ready to get its inner bearings. So this is the disc, and here's the new race we just installed. And here's the bearing that'll eventually go in there, but first we have to grease it. And by the way, that bearing is set 45 from Timken. It fits the front of my independent suspension P32. And then I've got a new front seal, and this is from National. It's number 8974S, and so that'll go in last on top. Before we get started, I've got to load this. This is a Kraken brand grease packer for bearings, and I got it from Amazon. I think it was $36.50, something like that. And I've never used it before. You have to pull the bottom out, and then you're supposed to fill this halfway with grease. And all I have is grease in I'm using Napa wheel bearing and chassis grease. So I have to figure out how to get that into there. So I'm going to get a spatula. So I'm just going to fill it halfway like it said. Let's try that. Then you just put this back in, push it down. I think that's good. And then the bearing goes in nose down like that. Then you just screw on the T-handle. There we go. Then the idea is it's supposed to push the grease up through the bearing, and so you should see the grease start to come out through the top or the wider side of the bearing. So let's see how that goes. There it comes. So I think that's pretty good. Go a little further. So now just take it out. Take it out. Put a little extra grease around the outside just for fun, because I can. So that should be one good packed bearing. So get that out of the way, bring back the front hub, and that just gets dropped right into there. So next I just got to put in the oil seal. So I'm just going to put a little bit of grease around the edge of this to make sure it goes in nicely. And it goes in like this. Now I've got my biggest seal driver because I want this big flat edge to go around the metal on the outside. I don't want it to be pushing on the rubber. That might damage it. So let's just try tapping it in nicely. It's going in crooked. Maybe I just... There, I think that's it. The manual said to make sure you hit it sealed down flush with, I guess, this edge of the hub with a plate. So I just put this piece of wood on it and I tapped it all the way around really hard. And I felt it settle that last little bit, maybe just a slight bit, but it's flush now. So the two bearing surfaces are going to be, the inner one goes on this part right here. So I clean that, and the bearing has to just slide right on that. It can't be tight where you have to twist it to get it on. It's got to slide right on there. So I used some 400 grit sandpaper because I left this out a while, like many of us do, and it had gotten a little rusty, but it's not anymore. This here is where the outer bearing goes, and I did the same thing there. And also, this has a no preload system, so you don't want to tighten the nut any more than it says, pretty much by hand. But it said to make sure that the nut spins on the threads really easily. So I did that, tested them, and it does that really well. So what I'm going to do next is just try to lift the hub up and get it on there. There. Okay. It went right on, had no trouble at all. So the next step is to put in the outer bearing, and I've already run it through the greaser. So I'm going to get that in there. I think I just have to lift this up a little bit and rattle it to get it to go in. There it goes. Yep. Okay, so it's all in there. And the next thing will be the washer. And there's a little key for it. So that's on. And then this goes on. Get it hand tight. Okay, now I'm going to try lifting it up, making sure. Okay, that's not a problem. So it's on there. And then what it says is to tighten it to 12 foot-pounds. So that's what I'm going to do while I'm turning the hub. So I think that's good. I just wanted to show that that scraping sound in the previous video was just the rotor scraping against the back plate, which is sheet metal, which I just had to bend out of the way, so now it's not scraping at all. And then it says back the nut off till it's just loose. There, it's just loose. And then it says to finger tighten it. So I've got it finger tight, and then it says back off as I need for the cotter pin, and so I'll be doing that. Should have located the cotter pin holes first. So I've got the cotter pin in. It's the heads here, and I pulled this prong out toward me, and it's sticking out about a 3/16 of an inch past this, and the manual did warn you not to have it where it can hit the cup, and I don't think it's in any danger of hitting the cup. So the next thing I'm going to do is try to set the cup in there. So I'll have to do that again. I can leave the camera on, but I'll be having to tap away at it. I think she's in. That's fantastic. So I'll do the other side off camera, and the next video will be about putting on the brake calipers and all that stuff. Well, I hope you found this video interesting, and thanks for watching. If you found this enjoyable, please like and subscribe. Bye.